going on YouTube? It's Jordan, the Hellacious Car Channel, and I wanted to do this video to kind of, well, tell you about why I bought the Hellcat, right? So with that said, I think it's time for the obligatory start. So I've owned this Hellcat for about 2 weeks. And let me tell you, this car is amazing. When people talk about miles per gallon, yes, absolutely. Now this model is a 2016. I bought it. It had 13,300 miles on it. But to kind of give you the story how this all went down, I've been keeping my eye out for, a Hellcat. Ideally, I was actually wanting a Dodge Charger Hellcat. And, I've been watching all these videos on YouTube. Two of my favorite channels is the Family Cruising Network and then Tall Guy Car Reviews. And I've probably watched about every Hellcat video there is on YouTube. I mean, I've been obsessing about this car for some time. And one of the videos that really just I think it kind of pushed me over the edge to finally just to decide to do it was when Tall Guy Car Reviews, when he took his boss out in the Hellcat. And and the most hysterical thing was that his boss was just terrified the entire time. I mean, at one point he was yelling out the window, "This guy's trying to kill me!" And it was hysterical. So if you have time, go check out Tall Guy Car Reviews video when he takes his boss out for a ride in the Hellcat. And so I had to go to the dentist, which on the way back, there is a Dodge dealership. So went to my dentist appointment. Wow, that guy ran off the road. Went to my dentist appointment, and so I was like, you know what? On my way home, I'm gonna go swing by Alan Samuels Dodge dealership here in Waco. So I wanted to see if they had any, out front, kind of on the pavement. Because of the way their setup is. And so when I left the dentist, I went by there and there was none out front. And I was like, And I happened to look up, and down at the other end of the lot was a gentleman named Elias. Now, Elias, we have bought all of our vans from. I mean, we bought 3 vans from this guy. Always been a stand-up guy. Always has a smile on his face. I mean, you just cannot help but like this guy. And so I was in my truck, pulled up, rolled down the window, and he saw it was me, and he was like, "Jordan, what brings you by?" And I was like, "Got any Hellcats?" He's like, "As a matter of fact, I've got 2 of them, and I'm dying to get rid of them." I'm like, "Well, let's go take a look." And so they had both Hellcat Challengers on the showroom floor, okay? They had a white one and the one I have, which is red with the black hood. So he's like, let's do a test drive. So I'm just like, okay, well, what's the price? And so he shows me the price. And so the white one was $50,000. It had 30-something thousand miles. It actually had drag radials on it. I mean, it was a nice car. And I remember watching Elias start it up in the showroom floor, and when he went to put it into drive, when that thing, I don't know what the mode the car was set on. I guess it was set to track mode, because man, when that thing put into drive, that thing just locked and literally spun the tires just slightly on the showroom floor. And so we had to make all the room. We got it pulled out. And so Elias, the last time we bought a vehicle from him, he was one of the salesmen. Well, now he's been promoted to the sales manager, so he's moving on up. So mad props to you, Elias. You know, your hard work, good customer service, all that's gotten you to where you are, and I'm super happy for you, dude, and proud of you. And so he set me up with a salesman named Jake. And so Jake and I get into the white Hellcat, and you know, and we go and we take that thing for a drive. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was nervous getting into that car. I mean, it's been a long time since I've driven a car that had excess of 400 horsepower, yet alone 707. So we get in it, and we go to get on Highway 6, and I just stomp it straight to the floor. And I got a full feel of what this power is like, especially when it hooks up. And I mean, yeah, there's some tire spin, but man, when that thing took off, it was a rocket ship. And I remember I just threw me back in my seat, and I was just like, man, I can't believe this is real. And, you know, we take it down, you know, IH-35 into Robinson, but something about the car just didn't sit right with me. So I knew in my head that this one's probably not going to be it. But while we're still in this car, my wife calls, because I had sent her some texts saying, hey, I'm looking at Hellcats, and she's saying, come home. And then she calls, and she's like, okay, Jordan, you can have any car you want, but you got to give up fast food. And given I got a little bit of a weight problem, like Chris Farley from Black Sheep,
I have what doctors call a little bit of a weight problem.
I'm like, you know what, I'll do that deal, because I get a cool car, and the amount of money I spend on fast food will, well, frankly, it'll pay for the car. And so I'm like, deal. And so I asked her, I go, so do you like white or you like red? And she's like, white. And as she says it, I hit it to the floor. And let me tell you, I'm you know, the steering on this is really, really tight. So I'm, you know, the tires are spinning, because I launched it from like 20 miles an hour. And I just started sawing it, and you could hear that engine just full rev. And I like, you hear that? She's like, yes. And so I'm like, okay. So we get back to the Dodge dealership. Oh, and since we have this moment, I got to do it. Oh, son. Woo! I'm not going to tell you how fast I'm going. I probably should have said I was in Mexico, huh? But so we take the car back, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm not feeling this white one. I go, you know, can I take the red one for a spin? And they're like, sure. So now we've cleared out the showroom floor for the sake of me test driving the white one and the red one, you know. And I get in the white one, in the red one, and I knew that was the car. And so, you know, when it came down to the details, you know, the red one, despite having over half the mileage, it was actually $1,000 cheaper than the white one. So I'm like, win-win, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we had to work out some details about what the, you know, how much I was going to pay for the car. What's this dude doing? I think he's watching the Hellcat, and he's about switching lanes into me. But so, you know, come up with a number, we get the financing in place. And note, I didn't put a single dollar down on this thing. I mean, they basically just ran my credit, which is stellar, and you know what happened. So we shook hands, and you know, now note, as part of the deal, I also should put this in there, that is another part of the deal. In order to make the car affordable, or at least for the payment that I wanted to pay, I gave up my 2010 Honda Goldwing that my father-in-law gifted to me a year ago. And let me tell you, I loved driving that Goldwing. I loved that thing. I mean, it was the Cadillac of motorcycles. But, you know, the thing about a motorcycle, and note, I have an EMS fire background. A bad day on a motorcycle, people, is a bad day. it's rare that you have a bad day and you get to, per se, walk away from it. You know what I mean? But, you know, so I had to give it up, and, you know, it was hard, you know, having to ride that bike for the last time, you know, because let me tell you, when you ride a motorcycle, there's something therapeutic about it. I mean, when you're exposed to all of the elements, it's a feeling like no other. I mean, this car can't even really give you that to a degree. But this car, though, it brings a different form of happiness and joy. And so since buying the car, let's see here, I bought it with 13,300 something miles. Got a dang fly in here. It now has 13,776. So I put well over 400 miles on this thing in 2 weeks. I find every single reason to drive this car. I'll be like, honey, do you need Kleenex? You know, I will go pick up anything just to turn around and say, do you need ketchup? Just something so I can get back in this car and drive somewhere. I mean, I have to drive this thing every day. This thing is an amazing car. And let me tell you, this car gets some looks. I went to the store to get me some drinks, and as I was walking out to the Hellcat, I heard in the distance, dude, sick car. And me being me, you know, I want to see who it is. Oh crap, there's a Tesla in front of you. Is that a Model 3? That sure as heck is. There is a Tesla Model 3, a white one. Nice. It's the first one I've seen in person. Yeah, this way. But and so I heard from the distance, dude, sick car. And I turn around and I'm looking, and about 100 feet away is 2 college-age boys. Well, I should say men. I mean, they were probably 19, 20. And they're like, dude, is that a Hellcat? And I'm like, yeah, it's a Hellcat. And they're like, dude, can I look at the inside? I'm like, sure. So I open up the car. I tell them, I'm like, get in it, sit down, you know what I mean? You know, enjoy the car for this moment, you know what I mean? And then we stood around talking for about, I don't know, 10 minutes. And so I told them, like, guys, you know what? I gotta run. I gotta go pick up some food for the family and everything. And they're like, dude, no problem. We shook hands. I told them, said, hey, I'm gonna be starting a YouTube channel. You know, just keep an eye out. I don't know what I'm gonna call it yet. And then we, you know, I departed. And then as I was going to pick up the food, I took the exit, and there's a area where there's a little swooping curve. And this Ford, it was like a jacked up Ford truck, like a F-250 on a lift kit and everything. I see him look up in the mirror, and he sees me. And out of nowhere, this guy starts driving like a idiot. I mean, he took a curve like that was designed for maybe 40. He was taking it about 70. And so I followed him through the curve. And I'm like, you know, oh, he wants to play, you know. And then I just barely got on this thing, and then I smoked him. And I looked in the mirror, and he was just looking back. He had his lady with him. He was smiling. She was smiling. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, this, I gotta, you know, I gotta get used to this, you know. And but yeah, I mean, just little things, like when I was, you know, because I have to drive through the school district to get home, and there's a crosswalk where they take the kids from the high school to the football field, and lo and behold, there's a whole pack of them crossing. There's like 15 or 16 kids, and they look and they see the car and they just start pointing at it. And me being me, I'm like, you know, I got to do something. Popped it in neutral, and I revved it to about 5,000 RPMs, and they were just all smiles, which is what this car is. All smiles, no matter where you go. And you know, it's just each little thing. You know what I mean? Now, are there some things I don't like about this car? Absolutely. But I'm gonna save that for another video. But all my children have ridden in this thing. My wife has driven it. She tries to act like she's not all that impressed, but when she's riding with me and I stomp on this thing, she smiles, you know. So she may say, yeah, it's just a car, it's just a blah 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 blah, and you know, down inside, you gonna let me in, person? Come on, don't be a douchebag. Thank you. And so, but yeah, she'll be all smiles. But the kids, when they get in it, they're literally like, Daddy, fast mode. That's what they call it. They call it fast mode. And so I oblige wherever possible. But I can tell you that overall, I'm beyond happy that I purchased this car. And, you know, I probably know in a few years if there's a late model, you know, that they come out with something new by then. I know the red eye's coming out, but you know, if in a few years they have something that's even better, I can probably tell you I'm going to be committed to having a car like this in my life for the long term. I've worked really, really hard to get where I'm at in life. I'm at the top of my game. I'm doing my thing. You know, and when it came down to this car, it's just like, you know, I'm going to treat myself for once, because I focus a lot of my efforts on, you know, just life, kids, family, you know, seeing to it that they're all taken care of to the best that I can take care of, you know. But yeah, super happy that I did this. And as I said, I'm going to be doing videos quite often, just letting you enjoy the car with me. And, you know, there's some mods that I want to do, so be on the lookout for some of those videos that I'm going to be doing this coming week. But until next time, YouTube, have a great day. Take care. Well, everybody, that's a wrap. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to hit that notification bell. And I'm Jordan. We'll see you on the next one.